This is what I found in my Gaggia Classic 2006 that I acquired second-hand a couple of months ago. This was the worst, but it's not the first time that I buy a machine from someone who was supposedly regularly descaling the machine, and the situation was not nice when I opened the boiler. And I don't think that they were dishonest. It's just a sum of factors that misled them in this complex subject that is water for coffee. Then I decided to bring some important factors that you need to have in mind in a simplified way. What is limescale? How to prevent? What should I do if I had overlooked the maintenance? How to descale? In this video, I'll answer these questions and share my easy and simple approach to water quality and maintenance of my espresso machine. First of all, if you have an espresso machine, you will have a scale build up and you will have to descale sooner or later. Limescale is carbonate that is crystallizing in your boiler on heating elements and everywhere where the hot water goes through. So if you are in an area with soft water, it may take longer for you to need to descale, but if you are in an area with hard water, you will have to descale more frequently. The main risk that I see in not properly and regularly descaling is that those crystals that you saw in the beginning of the video may be released by your boiler and travel through the system, clogging some parts, and it may damage permanently parts and components, and it's going to be expensive to fix it. It will also affect the flavor of your coffee and increase the energy consumption. And now you may ask, what if I have a water with zero calcium in its composition? Would I prevent limescale forever? Would I never have to descale my machine? That's a tricky question. In theory, yes, because limescale, as I said, is the calcium that is crystallizing in your machine. However, you need some minerals to extract the compounds of your coffee. Otherwise, it's going to be tasteless. But not so much, because it will also mute the flavors. And then there's a band where people recommend you to stay within. La Marzocco recommends using a water with TDS between 90 and 150. The Specialty Coffee Association recommends something between 35 and 85. TDS means total dissolved solids, which means that if you boil completely the water, you will have only minerals left, and if you measure, you will have a given number of parts per million, ppm, and then La Marzocco recommends 90 to 150, and the Specialty Coffee Association 35 to 85. This is not only to prevent limescale formation, but also to have the better extraction of the flavors of your coffee without muting the flavors, a balanced water for your coffee, basically. Another reason for not being in that other extreme of very low concentration is that you may increase the chances of corrosion. This is controversial, but in practical terms, I don't think anybody will be in the extremes of 0 or 500 parts per million. Right? So if we stay in this band within, I don't know, 35 to 85 or 90, 150, we would be safe in terms of corrosion, but you will have to balance it in terms of flavor. And how do I know that I need to descale? Well, I think that maybe the only way is to do a visual inspection. But then you will have to open your boiler. And I don't think you want to do it every now and then, every 2 months, for example. And it's not easy like inspecting your kettle, that you just open the lid and see inside, right? But there are some signs that you may be needing to descale your machine. James Hoffman, for example, recommends to measure how much water your machine can dispense in 30 seconds. You measure every 2 months, and when the flow starts to decrease, maybe it's an indication that you have limescale formation and you need to descale. If you have an E61 machine, I saw in a video from Whole Lotta Love that you can inspect the mushroom chamber. The mushroom valve is this part here that you can open, and then you see the chamber inside. And if you have limescale here, it's an indication that you may have in other parts of your machine. And if you bought second-hand, like I did, or if you're using tap water and didn't descale regularly in the last 2 years, or if you didn't descale at all in the last year, I would recommend sending to a technical assistance, or maybe opening the boiler yourself to inspect and descale the machine. In this case, I wouldn't throw a solution of citric acid and run through your machine, exactly because those flakes may be released and clog some parts. Then I think the best would be to open the boiler for a deeper cleaning. If you're comfortable, you can open the boiler and clean yourself like I did. This is the kind of service that will take maybe 1 or 2 hours from an experienced technician, and it's going to be expensive. You can make the calculations in your area how much it would cost, but in Europe I would say maybe something around 100 and 150 euros. It's a lot of money. Maybe you can use this money to buy MP burrs for your DF64 or a good hand grinder for you to have a nice coffee in the office or when you travel. But back to the topic, I think it would be too much information for a single video, but if you want me to post a step-by-step instruction on how to descale your machine, leave a comment for me to know that it's worth, because if it would be just another boring video, I'm gonna focus on something that is more useful for you, okay? But then, okay, I understood that I need to have some minerals to have a good cup, and then I'll have to descale at some point. How can I prevent? How can I increase the longevity of my espresso machine? How can I reduce my cost of maintenance? If your water is hard, above 150 ppm, I would consider softening the water, using bottled water, or maybe mixing distilled or deionized water with your tap water. Another option is to buy a filter like Zero Water. Zero Water, to my knowledge, is the only one that really works. Those regular kitchen filters, they remove chlorine, odor, particles, but not minerals. I also tested Brita, which is very popular, but it removed only around 25% of the dissolved solids in my water. And here the water is around 250 ppm, so it wasn't good enough. But Zero Water removes 100% of the minerals. The problem is that the filters for Zero Water is a bit more expensive. I spend around 16 euros per filter, and in this area with 250 ppm, I think that it will last for maybe 8 liters of water, 80, so not very cheap. Another thing that you can do to prevent is descaling. You can use citric acid, 40 grams per liter of water. This is cheap. You can buy a kilo for like $10 online, and if you are not comfortable in using citric acid, you can use the solution recommended by your manufacturer. Do it every 2 or 3 months if you are in an area with hard water, maybe every 6 months if your water is soft, and that's it. And what I am doing, I use water between 90 and 110 ppm. Why 90 and 110? Well, because I don't need to be so precise and hit, for example, 100 ppm, then I stay in this band, because you will have to mix the Zero Water and the tap water measure. It's going to be here and there. So to make my life a bit easier, it's another routine in my maintenance already. So to make it a bit easier, I stay within this band that it's easy to achieve. To measure, I use this TDS meter. You can buy it online on AliExpress for like $5. I'll leave a link in the description for you. And if you buy the Zero Water filtration system, it comes with the TDS meter. You don't need to buy it, okay? It's very easy to measure. You just press on, put it in the water, and you will see, for example, that the tap water has 238 ppm, and the Zero Water has 0. Then you can mix and find the concentration. And I have to confess that I didn't descale this ECM Classika PID in the last 12 months. The reason is that I was inspecting the chamber and also the three-way valve. I wasn't seeing any signs of limescale formation, and I was always using water below 110 ppm. I'm going to open the boiler of this machine very soon to do a visual inspection, and then I'll discover if this procedure is sufficient or not, at least to keep for 12 months, or if I should have been descaling more frequently this machine. Then I'm confident that it's going to be okay, and I will only need to do this light descaling. Then I'll do that, and I'm going to inspect again. I'll open the boiler again to see if it worked or not. And of course, I'm going to share the results here. So if you want to see those results, subscribe to receive the notifications. And if you think that this content was useful, hit the like and share with your friends that you think that are not taking good care of their espresso machines.